Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Breathitt County Sheriff Department is back up and running after some financial difficulties. Plus, UK and Fayette County are working together to help students with disabilities find internships.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6:31 on September 27th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning, Olivia. And we are seeing a little bit of rain out there this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Not toward us just yet, but it's getting closer by the minute. Let's take a look.
Don't forget an umbrella.
Exactly. Don't forget that as you head out the door this morning for sure. You'll need it at some point today. Let's go to live pinpoint Doppler radar, and you can see some rain to our north, some rain to our west. Now the rain to our west getting closer to us, scooting through parts of northern Rockcastle County, north of Mount Vernon. I cannot get that camera to pull up for some reason this morning. It might be a transportation cabinet issue. That's who runs that camera down there in Mount Vernon, looking northbound on I-75. So we'll look at Buffalo Mountain, and you can see a little bit of fog here in the eastern counties. It's the close-up camera I've got down there. I'll try it again here in just a few minutes, see if it'll come back online. But again, right now, not too much. 60s out there, 50s too. 52 in Clintwood is the cool spot. 65 in Monticello, the warm spot. Heading into the upper 70s, low 80s this afternoon. All depends on where you are and how much rain you get. The key word to remember today is scattered chances for showers and storms. More on that coming up in a little bit. Olivia?
All right, Brandon, thank you. A Pulaski County man arrested on second-degree rape charges 2 weeks ago was in Pulaski County Court for a preliminary hearing Monday. A search warrant was executed at a home on Perkins Drive in Pulaski County. While detectives were at the home, they encountered 46-year-old John Lloyd Lester, who lived there. Lester was brought into custody at the time for the warrant. After the hearing, an additional count of sodomy was added to Lester's charges. A Southern Kentucky felon is facing new charges for his part in an assault case. Wayne County Sheriff's Office deputies were called out to a home on Mercer Drive in Wayne County Monday night for a domestic violence complaint. When they arrived, a woman told police a man who was later identified as 41-year-old Travis Parmley of Monticello had thrown her to the floor and strangled her. Police later found Parmley and charged him on multiple charges. A Laurel County man is behind bars after a burglary case. The arrest happened Sunday afternoon on Dean Hundley Road, about 4 miles north of London. This came after the Laurel County Sheriff's Office conducted an investigation of a reported burglary of a female victim's home off Dean Hundley Road. Deputies say the front door of the home was damaged during the reported burglary. 40-year-old Philip Wade Adams of London was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. The Breathitt County Fiscal Court voted to fund the Sheriff's Department through October at a meeting yesterday. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox details how the funding is important.
The Breathitt County Fiscal Court agreed to pay the Sheriff's Department $14,000. Once the department paid them back in fees, the total added up to just above $10,000.
And we're glad that the Fiscal Court stepped up and helped us. We felt like they would. Just going to take some putting words together.
The funding will keep them operating through November when taxes start coming in.
Everything worked out. The sheriff came together with his treasurer, bookkeeper, and they needed some funding.
Noble said they were unsure at first if they had the money, but the fiscal court was able to find ways to make ends meet.
Money that has came in for this disaster that we were able to, help them get their bills paid and stay on track.
The floods and population decrease continue to make funding harder for county officials across the board, however.
This may affect us somewhere next year. We're not 100% sure because we've had a lot of delinquent taxes this year because of the disasters.
With that in mind, Holland says he believes they can continue to make things work. In Jackson, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
The department was closed for almost 1 week earlier this month, but now they are operating at full capacity again. Governor Andy Beshear was in Pikeville yesterday to break ground on a new vocational center. Beshear met with local and state leaders to introduce the Millard Area Technical School. Pike County Schools Superintendent Reed Adkins says it is a way for Pike County to get back to where they need to be. The $15 million school is one of the important ways Pike County leaders are working to build back their workforce. Attorney General and Republican candidate for Governor Daniel Cameron will be making some stops in the mountains today. Campaign officials say he will be paying visits to London and Barberville as part of his Fight for Kentucky Values tour. Cameron is scheduled to be at Weavers on 4th in London at 11 a.m. He is also set to be at the Knox County Courthouse at 2 p.m. A Central Kentucky hospital is expanding its ICU. Clark Regional broke ground yesterday on the project. The $4 million expansion will add 6 rooms to the ICU and later an operating room. Chief Executive Officer Matt Smith says the expansion will lead to the creation of about 25 jobs. Work is set to wrap up in February or March. The hospital serves about 8 counties, including Clark, Montgomery, and Powell. There is always a need for blood, and the Kentucky Blood Center has several stops planned here in the mountains soon. You can see the list of places where the KBC will be on your screen. They will be in Manchester, Hyden, Paintsville, and Prestonsburg next week. All registered donors at these upcoming drives who donate will receive a t-shirt. You must be at least 17 years old or 16 with parental consent to donate. Kentucky State Police recognized yesterday as Law Enforcement Suicide Awareness Day. In a 2021 study by the National Institute of Health, more than half of law enforcement officers are more likely to die by suicide than folks in any other profession. Even though the day has passed, you can always let others know you will listen if they are feeling depressed or isolated. A program formed in a collaborative effort between UK Healthcare and Fayette County Public Schools is helping students with disabilities get into internships. Program leaders say it is important because there is a 42% gap in employment for individuals with disabilities. 7 FCPS students are now working at UK Healthcare. One of them is Ella Ricketts. Her mother, Rika, says Ella has a rare disability that sometimes prevents her from doing everyday tasks.
Sometimes thinking they're never going to be normal like the other kids and do what they are going to do. And then when things like this come along, you can't help but jump on the opportunity.
Rika Ricketts also says Ella now comes home every day excited with a new story to tell. One of the most popular Christian music groups of all time will be in Kentucky later this month. Petra grew to become one of the most popular Christian groups in the 1980s and 1990s after forming in the early 1970s. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary and will be in Louisville on September 30th. WYMT's Phil Pendleton was able to talk to several of their longstanding members and has more on their legacy and memories of playing in the Commonwealth.
Petra's John Schlitt and Bob Hartman have been together since the mid-1980s, forming a nucleus of a band that started in 1972.
The music that Bob wrote, I really believe is timeless.
Petra plays a hard rock blend of music that was born out of a mission of ministry.
And I think that common goal and that common purpose has joined us together in such a way that we feel that what we're doing makes a difference in people's lives.
They haven't recorded new music in almost 20 years, but have played off and on again since then. Last year, they played some 50th anniversary dates that expanded into this year.
With us, we're seeing people drive quite a distance sometimes to come and hear us.
Petra was a frequent performer at the Ichthus Festival here in Wilmore. In fact, both John Schlitt and Bob Hartman had a lot of memories of when they played at Ichthus. Many of those memories have a lot to do with the weather.
You mentioned Ichthus. To us, that was Mudfest. I know that's not a very positive thing, but...
And we played, and I think when we played, if I remember, it wasn't raining, but there was a lot of mud.
Petra played the Wilmore Festival at least 4 times through 3 different decades, along with the State Fair and at other churches and events. On Saturday, September 30th, their 50th anniversary show will be at a church in Louisville.
A lot of friends. That's how we see it. Anybody that's at our show is a friend who wants to bring back the memories that we were able to share with them and they shared with us.
And maybe that's what the allure is for people today. They remember those days and how they felt when they heard that music.
Somebody, somewhere. They say music can be very powerful, and they've seen its effect for 5 decades and hope to be performing for many more. Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Petra will be in concert Saturday night at St. Matthew Baptist Church. You can find out more about this show in our story on our website.
.641 here on this Wednesday morning. We're still tracking a few showers back out to our west, but again, not too much going on across most of our area just yet. They're in northern Rockcastle County, easing up on northwestern Pulaski County, so we're kind of keeping an eye on that there. Eubanks right there on the border there with Lincoln County and over into parts of Pulaski County, so we're keeping a very close eye on that. And of course, we go back toward Rockcastle County. Conway, you're right there on the county line with Madison County, getting some pretty good little showers this morning. Now, temperatures across the rest of the region, pretty mild, down to 51 in Clintwood, but everybody else mid to upper 50s and low 60s. Looks like Somerset just took a little bit of a tumble there for us, so there might be some rain out that way, maybe a little outflow boundary cooling things off. Out the door forecast, this is not going to be an all-day washout rain. We're talking about scattered chances for showers and storms, and scattered is the key word to remember. I think we top out in the upper 70s, and some folks will probably even see some sunshine today, so keep that in mind. Olivia?
Thanks, Brandon, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:42. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Hollywood riders are headed back to work. Stay with us as we look at some of the contract wins for riders fresh off the picket line.